Amer Hussain is come here to join us on the podcast, and me and you spoke a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
I saw your page in Avenue Magazine's 40 Under 40. And I read up a little bit about, what you do. You're a dentist, but you give back to the community. You help a lot of people out. And I thought it'd be cool to have a conversation with you. And you show up today and you're straight up. I didn't know this about you, but you're Batman.
All right.
Batman shows up in a black Lamborghini. And I mean, the weather's not really Lambo weather.
Yeah.
But it says a lot about you as a fun guy that's not taking it too seriously, because there's guys with Lambos that would never actually take it out on the road.
Oh yeah, for sure. Tons of guys. Even when it rains, some guys don't drive it. So it's like
And so why are you driving it?
I mean, for me, the car was like,
Besides the fact that you actually have one.
yeah.
That's a good reason to drive a Lambo.
I need my cost per month to go down, so I need to make sure I hit every month.
Kilometers.
Right. I mean, honestly, the car for me is just like, I got it for me, right? And I bought it to enjoy it. I didn't buy it just to sit in the garage and like look at it. I bought it to like take it out and like drive it around and enjoy it in the weather, right? So I mean, there's certain days for sure, like when it's really snowy or icy, I probably won't drive it. And I think in between seasons, like when there's lots of rocks flying around, I typically don't. But I mean, if it's winter, like a day like this, a nice day out, I mean, why not? I'll take it out for sure and just enjoy it.
Do you hate that it's black? Like, do you wish it was a different color?
I love the matte
Because black gets the dirtiest. Oh, it's
yeah,
matte.
It's matte black, yeah.
So probably doesn't show all the
Yeah.
imperfections the way a shiny black does.
Yeah. I think the car, like especially the Aventador, it's like the angles on it are so like nice, and the way they designed it. I think even like, comparing it to like a Bugatti or like whatever, the way it looks, I think it just looks so much better than all those cars. The way they designed it is so unique, and it's so like just so different, right, than everything else. So and matte black on it, I think any color on it really looks good. I've never really been into like the really like Skittle type colors. I've never been that kind of guy. It's always been like really monochrome, like white or black.
Yeah,
have been the two that I've always kind of gone with. So
it's also nice, like an army green.
Yeah,
sorry, like an olive green.
Yeah.
Is that sort of the same? Yeah,
yeah.
Those colors are really standoutish. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But everybody's going with matte.
Yeah, lately, a lot of people, for sure.
So you've done quite a bit to afford yourself the luxury of being able to drive a Lambo. How did this all start for you? Were you did you have a wealthy family growing up, or does this story begin at a very dark time in life, a very poor time in life?
No, so I don't really come from a lot. So my parents immigrated to Canada in the 70s into Saskatoon, and so we grew up in Saskatoon. But again,
were you born here?
Born in Saskatoon.
Okay.
Saskatchewan. I have one older brother, and then I guess so growing up, my dad actually got into a car accident when I was probably about 4 years old, and hurt his shoulder. So then he actually couldn't work anymore. He had to kind of go on disability, and then sort of forced my mom to go back to work at night, kind of at 7-Eleven, working the graveyard shift, and then she'd go to school during the daytime and then take care of us too. And then so just saw a lot of the hard work and stuff with them going through everything, and then they just kind of kept pushing us, me and my brother, to kind of like keep like working and succeeding.
Were you close to your brother?
Yeah, really close. Yeah.
And what does he do?
He's a physician, actually. He's an interventional neurologist down at the Cleveland Clinic.
So you both took to the books.
Yeah, went for it, right?
Yeah. Good for you.
Yeah. So
and you have a lot of businesses in Edmonton. Like, you have how many locations?
There's
like
11.
10?
Well, so there's 11 offices total right now. There's one of them's in Red Deer, and then we're opening another one in Calgary, but most of them are Edmonton and area.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when did you move from Saskatoon to? Did you go to school in Edmonton?
So I did an undergrad degree in Saskatoon,
Yeah.
and then I did a master's degree here at U of A, and then I did dental school here at U of A. And then
You
I
didn't
went
go
down
to Toronto.
No, and then I went down to Florida for 2 years in Jacksonville to do 2 years for the ortho residency, and then came back.
How was that?
It was good. It was
that
weird.
Adventure was
yeah,
good?
It was. I mean, living in like growing up in Saskatoon and then living in Edmonton and then moving to Florida is like just crazy. I mean, you realize that like, wait, we're the weird ones living in like
That's
the
a
Arctic.
culture shock.
Yeah, like
even more than a culture shock at already being in Canada.
It's crazy. And I mean,
because you're not back home, your family's not back home.
No, yeah.
They immigrated like mine did.
Yeah. So being there and like, I mean, leaving the house with jeans on and then being like, holy man, it's so hot outside, and then coming back in and have to change. Like, it's just a weird like.
Chasing AC everywhere you go.
It's crazy. Like, it's a different world, different lifestyle for sure.
And how old were you at the time?
So that was when I was like 28 till right before 30. So it was 2 years down there.
When did you start experiencing success? Was it in your early 30s?
Yeah,
that
probably
things
when I
started taking
came.
off?
So I opened up my first, as soon as I finished school, I opened up the first office, sort of October 2010.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I mean, things just started working, right? We were doing things a little bit different than the traditional model out here.
Yeah.
And then I think a lot of it from being in the US and seeing kind of the way the model works down there and kind of bringing that up here helped a lot. And so I think within like, a year, 2 years, 3 years, it was doing, everything was really picking up and things were working. And so we just kind of kept growing and kept going.
Good for you. Has it afforded you the being able to help out your parents in a way where you're proud that you can? Because we were talking about, not everybody with the Lambos having the best life on the inside or the biggest smile on their face. We're all going through shit in some form. You know what I mean? But has having the luxuries to be able to help out your parents in certain ways, has that made you happier? Like truly feel like you're giving back to them?
For sure. I mean, I'm thinking about
because they didn't grow up with any of the stuff that you had.
Oh, no way. I mean, even for me, I mean, this is all like honest, like it is a dream, like everything that's happening now, and like the way I live, it's like every day is just bonus, right? It's like there's no way I even imagined like things like this could happen, and the way my life is now, there's no way I even thought this was possible growing up. And I mean, now being able to like give back and like for especially like, so my dad actually just passed away in February.
I'm sorry to hear
from
that.
Thanks, man. He had a
how
he
young
was,
they're always young.
yeah,
That's why I
he
say
was
that.
like, I mean, he was just about to turn 70, so he actually had lung cancer, and then he kind of fought it for about a year and then had to go. But I mean, he really like did everything he did for us and really lived his life as much as he could to provide for us. With, I mean, he didn't buy new clothes for years. He like just like kind of sacrificed all his money and was really conservative because he didn't want to take any risks so that we could really get ahead. And I mean, now being able, like at the end of sort of his life, being there for him and being able to help him and like provide as much as I could for him, and then now being able to take care of my mom and like,
Are you close with your mom?
Oh, super close, yeah.
Okay.
So I think, I mean, being able to give back to them and make her not have to worry about anything sort of for the rest of her life, and she can kind of relax, and like, being able to buy her like,
that's a good feeling.
Oh, it's great, man.
Is she close with your kids? Because you got 3 kids, right?
Yeah. So I mean, even getting her like a first class ticket to go back home, right, to visit her family. Beautiful. And all that kind of stuff, and like taking her on vacations and things like that, and like just giving her like peace of mind so she doesn't have to worry, right? It's a good feeling, right? Thinking about how hard they struggled and how much they worked, and then now they can kind of just relax and enjoy it, and they don't have to worry about anything.
Do you go back home quite a bit?
I go back home to Saskatoon.
No, like back home.
Yeah, no, never.
Why?
Last time I went was 2000, and I think for me, I grew up here, and I never really got close to anyone over there, so my family was kind of just here.
Yeah, I guess I say it like I expect you to be going back home as much as I do, but I spent 7 years in Lebanon.
Yeah.
Like 7 years of my life growing up there.
So my
with you, that was Saskatoon.
Exactly, right? Okay. So I mean, I kind of go there, and then so my connections aren't really as tight to that. I think we have cousins here, and I see them, and I'm closer to them, and once in a while, for sure. I mean, if the opportunity came up, like I probably would end up going.
You don't even have many people you can kick it with. Like,
exactly.
Truly.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I go there. It's not really like I'm like really hanging with a lot of people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why not take those friends from Saskatoon, go to Vegas or Mexico, go have a good time.
Exactly.
For a week, yeah. So, but your parents still go back home.
Yeah,
your mom.
My mom's going.
Is she still?
She tries to go a little bit here and there.
With your dad not being around, does she have that? Like, do you feel like?
Well, I think so. My brother's in Cleveland. I'm here in Edmonton, and then we have cousins and stuff, and her house is in Saskatoon. So I think she's kind of rotating between the places and kind of spending time everywhere right now, and kind of getting.
Because she's probably still in that mode where she said bye to her best friend, so she's still trying to figure out where she wants to live out, the next 10, 20 years of her life.
Exactly, kind of let the dust settle, right? So
that's cool that she's, that she doesn't have to ask for a lot, that you can actually help out with.
For sure, yeah, it's so easy, it's so nice.
Does she like the Lambo?
I think so. I mean, she never really like.
They probably hate it. Like, why you get this?
Yeah,
why do you need this?
I think the thing
it's too small. Like when they try to get into it. When my dad tried to get in my car, he's got to bend down, and you could tell the look on his face. He's like, why, man?
Yeah,
like what do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think.
Let's face it. For your mom to jump in your Lambo wouldn't be the easiest.
No way.
Hurdle to overcome.
I mean, for me, I think they're just happy. I'm happy, right? Like they're just happy. Like
at the end of the day, that's
all they want.
If you had nothing and you were happy,
they'd be happy.
They'd be happy.
Yeah, that's all they really want. So.
Yeah. Do you recommend? I mean, I always get told that people, or I witness, or I know people that go back home and get married. Do you guys get that in your culture quite a bit? Being you're Muslim, but are you Sikh?
No, Pakistani.
Pakistani? Okay. Do you guys get that also in your culture, like mine, where they're always like, yeah, just take your own kind. They know how to cook our food.
Yeah.
They can talk to your mother. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like everybody can get along a little bit better.
Yeah,
You
for
know,
sure.
and you're thinking, nah, I just want to do my own thing with somebody. Like, you know, it's nice to have a separate life. You don't always have to be community involved. You can go to the funerals and weddings and, you know, say hi to a few.
Definitely.
And keep it down to a
for sure.
a
I
bare
think
minimum.
lots of pros and cons with, like, you know, being part of that community and doing that stuff versus not. I think there's two different ways.
It's hard to let go culturally because you know, it's just you're going to the mix. It's like water that hasn't yet arrived to water that's been mixed with oil. It's like, oh, here we go, like we're getting close. You know what I mean? It's just slowly people are mixing. I think it's easier, but I want to get your take on that.
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of pressure for sure.
You were married.
I was, and so I currently still going through the divorce process and kind of doing that. And again, I think at the end of the day, I mean, the connections we had, I mean, again, both being Pakistani, both being Muslim, they only go so far, right? And I think there's other things that need to be there to really bond people together. And I think if you don't have those things, I think that's where things can start to, like, grow apart. And I think that's more important than some other things. I think you need to know yourself and kind of what's really important to yourself and really choose that over anything else. And really, I see a lot of people making decisions on relationships or marriage and things like that for the wrong reasons, and they're like, well, you know, culturally this is a good idea. Oh,
sometimes it's to please somebody else.
And I think that's the worst thing you can do, right? Because I think I mean, the thing for me kind of at the end of the day when I was going through my process was and I mean, I went and, like, talked to a lot of people and tried to get a grasp on, like, you know, what am I going to do here? And it was like a long process. It was like, you know, a good, you know, 4-year build up before I actually kind of, like, was, like, ready to jump off the cliff, right? And I had a friend kind of had actually just gone through it before me. It was the same story, right? It's like a long time you're hanging over the edge before you cut the rope, right? And you're kind of just, like, thinking what to do. And I think the real piece for me that kind of did it was there's no normal. So whatever world you live in, that's your normal world. So for example, like a kid who lives in child abuse, that's his normal world, and that's what's normal to him. And so in a marriage,
you don't want that to be the norm.
Yeah, and so for me, with, like, you know, I'm not happy in my marriage. I feel like I'm getting beat down. I feel like I'm not appreciated, and, like, I'm just living my life, and I'm kind of dead, and I'm angry all the time. I didn't want my kids to see that and think it's okay for them to see that their, like, wife can treat them bad and make them feel like that.
Especially when they're younger, they're sponges.
And I mean, that's what their normal marriage is going to look like. So for me, it was like I needed to break that cycle, and I needed to know my kids to know that it's okay to choose happiness and to choose themselves. And so that was, like, one of the hardest things.
Kids are going to be taken care of no matter what. Like, you're going to be there as a father.
For sure.
I always tell people that are going through a divorce with kids, the kids are going to be fine. Some of the best kids I know are the ones whose parents didn't stay together.
For sure.
Like truly, like, as far as accomplishing things. You know what I mean? Some of them are the ones that went through the hard times. You know, I didn't. I grew up with a mom and dad that are still together after. You know, almost 50 years. And it's a beautiful thing to witness. For sure. But that doesn't mean you're going to copy everything. You know what I mean? But in your 30s, having gone through that love phase to going through what you're going through now, do you, like, we never think when we're falling in love for the first time that this is it. This is, you know, this is what love feels like, and you feel like it'll always be the same if you find love. But in your 30s, it's a lot different than in your 20s.
You really have to be sure, and everything has to be perfect. Because essentially what you're doing, and I mean, a marriage contract in North America is the worst contract you can sign. You literally are gambling 50% of your net worth that you're going to last forever.
You got to keep lawyers, you know,
prenup. I mean, prenup. For sure, prenup, like, always. But I mean, it's such a, there's really no reason. I mean, I was watching this other I think a podcast, these guys were talking, and it's like you're basically, you know, you're asking the government for permission to be with this person, and then if it doesn't work out, you need to ask the government again to be okay to not be with this person. And it's like,
you don't have parents.
So I mean, the point of it now for me is, like, you know, I don't know if I really as much believe in, like, this concept anymore, right? And being really jaded, obviously, going through the process, and it's really difficult. Your life gets put on hold. You know, it's really hard on your kids. Like, there's a lot of things that are in play there, right? So it's difficult now. Not to say, like, you can't, like, fall in love and be with someone and, like, do that and be that life forever. But I mean, to sign a North American contract or sign a contract away that's going to put you
You're better off doing 5 business deals.
Right.
Like, you have your better chances there.
Seriously, right?
You
And
know?
I mean, and you never know. Maybe you find the right person, right? And
exactly.
Like, and
there's some that have been
mixed, and
together
it's-
since 15.
For sure.
And they're just like, that's it. They're so bonded that if one of them dies, the other one's surely die right after. Like, that's how close they are.
Exactly. So I think it depends on the person, right? And it's individual a lot, like in your own personality. I think
With you having kids, it would have a lot to do with your decision making when it comes to that, because this is somebody that's not only going to be a part of your life, but your kid's life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
so now your choice of partner going forward into the future is much more strategic on a take your time sort of level.
For sure.
You know, where the single guy can rush with you know what I mean? I'll take my chances. You know, nobody's going to meet her anyways.
Oh, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Now it's way more different, like thinking about them and stuff. And like, I remember I told them, I'm like, hey guys, if you want at any point, you can veto any one of my, like, if I'm gonna marry somebody and you don't like them and you say no, I'm not gonna marry them. No. But I was like, hey, I'm gonna do the same thing for you guys too.
Your dad is not gonna bring somebody in that's gonna have to get vetoed.
Yeah.
Like, you're actually gonna bring the person in
well,
where
I mean, I think
you're just not sure what's gonna happen. Like, you can tell.
I would say this, right? And I think I talked to a friend of mine, and a friend of mine was like, it's really like, we don't really see how important that is for a kid to hear that. To know how important they are to you, that you're willing to be like, hey, listen, if this isn't good for you and you're not happy, because at the end of the day, all said and done, blood is thicker than water. And it's like, I learned that real fast going through my divorce and like figuring all this stuff out. That like at 10, 20 years from now, if I'm still with this person or not with this person, I'm still going to be dad to those kids, right? And like, they're still going to be the ones for me that need to be there, right? So at the end of the day, my decision now is based way more on what they want and how it's going to go. And I mean, I'm comfortable enough in myself that I can be okay and live my life and get them to a safe point and not have to worry about it, right? So I think for me, I think
as long as those goals are accomplished, it's like talk as much as you want.
Yeah. So I'm like, I mean, I have kids, man. I'm like, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. I'm not really like stressed out about it. So it's not a big deal.
Do you keep yourself busy with work? Like, 'cause you got a lot going on. Right? Like,
so busy,
Like, so you don't even have to, like, if somebody was to enter your life now, it'd be like trying to book this podcast with you. It's like, yeah, man, you got to get me at Wednesday. We ever done a Wednesday at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock podcast? No, we haven't. But still appreciate it. But thanks, you don't have much time, man.
Yeah, it's hectic. I mean, even like, it's funny, like you see the people like closest to me and they're around me. They're like, man, your brain is just 24/7 just going. And it's like, running all the offices and like balancing all that stuff out,
but
and starting
keeps
up new
you alive, man.
It is. I mean, and that's what, like when I talk to my me and my brother were talking about this, right? And it's like, that's kind of what drives me, right? Is the ambition to like do this stuff and to see what we can achieve and like do that. I think that's what really like keeps me alive and makes me like happy and really keeps me going. I think so. Taking that away from me, I think would be something that would be really like a part of me is gone, right? And then I'm just not who I am. I think everything, like we were talking a little bit earlier, everything about me is what makes me who I am and makes me what I am. So I can't really give up on any of that stuff because that's just who I am, right? And I think
do you work too much not to see the kids as much as you'd like?
So,
are you good at that? Are you good at managing your time with them?
No. I mean, I think
not to put you on the spot.
Yeah, like, okay.
Your kids are gonna watch this in a few years, be like, yeah, I knew something was wrong with Dad. No, I'm just kidding.
You know what's funny enough? Going through the divorce and now having it where it's like I have my kids on certain days and she has the kids on other days. You really, the days you have the kids, you're with the kids and like you're with them and like you're all in. And
it's
so,
much
like,
more concentrated.
Yeah, and
it's not so wishy-washy.
Yeah,
because when you're together, it's like flyby.
Oh, for
you
sure.
know what I mean? But now it's like you got the kids. There's no mom around.
Yeah,
you're
in charge. You're making dinner. You're getting school ready. You're
I
doing
bet
homework.
you got to know your kids a lot better that way.
Way better.
Way better.
Way better. Yeah.
You recommend it?
Oh,
like if you're not happy.
Oh, this is what
do
I would
what you
say.
got to do, man.
This is what I say. I say the best is always, two parents together happy and in love. I think two parents together unhappy is no good, but I think two parents apart happy is better than that. So I think either together happy or
you get
apart
to see happy. It's just different times.
I think that's the thing. I think, and for kids, the biggest thing for them growing up to be okay is if both parents are happy and they're like sort of at peace with each other. I think that's the best situation. When parents are dragging kids into it, saying things to kids and pulling them into it and like always saying those kind of things, that's when kids really get affected.
You see it happen where the kid is being told, what a bad parent one of them is in the absence of the other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? During a conversation or a car drive, it's like, your mom always does this or your dad always does that.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of back and forth. Well, like I said, the kids are sponges, man. They're taking that. So you might be separate, but if you're just you're puking on them, all the hatred shit that's going on between you and your significant other or was, that's spewing onto your kids. So you might as well stay together and stay unhappy.
All right.
But it's not just being apart. Like, do you talk shit to your kids about their mom in her absence?
Oh yeah, no. I think that's
what I'm saying.
Like the
so
worst
as
thing,
long as you do that,
I think
it could work out.
There's two huge points, two huge things that really come up, right? One is when you do that, I think the thing that people don't understand is when you're telling a kid, like, hey, your dad is this, or your dad's evil, or your dad's gonna go to hell.
You're not doing him any favors.
Well, he's half the dad. You know what I mean? So he's gonna be like, half of me is that.
Yeah.
So now you're telling him, hey, like half of you is this. And like,
but it's not done strategically. She's doing it out of anger, if that's the case.
And then even the second thing, like one of my really good friends told me this. He was like, hey man, you gotta listen. He's like, yeah, think about this. For you, this is just a moment in time, and it's gonna pass. And it's like you're gonna go through it. It's gonna be over. You're gonna be okay. He's like, for your kids, this is the building blocks of their lives. So everything that's happened to them is so much bigger for them than it is for you.
You need to be strong for all
you do.
parties.
And it's like you got to bite your tongue. You got to hold it back. I mean, you get angry and like you want to unload sometimes, but it's like you got to be strong for them, right? And I think at the end of the day, like that's what's more important than anything else. So even if one of the partners is doing something and frustrating the other one, it doesn't matter, right? Because it's all at the end of the day, it's all about them and kind of giving them those things. And like you never want anything bad for your kids at the end of the day. You always want them to be strong, right?
Yeah.
So good times, man.
I mean, we talk about you motivating kids and motivating people, and you know, you give them something to aspire to, and show them that there's a legitimate way of making it and being successful and being able to help out your folks, your family, everybody that surrounds your life. You make everybody's life a little bit better by being successful in many different ways. What are some of the other things that you do to give back? Because you guys go beyond just you know, giving a sucker to a kid and letting them sit in your car to motivate them.
Yeah.
You guys help out in a different way.
Yeah, there's a program actually. I think I changed the name. I gotta look at the name up real quick of what it's called. But it's it used to be Free the Children was the name of it. And so basically, the gist of what they do is they'll basically build like schools in third world countries, and they'll build like wells for drinking water, and they'll provide education to all these kids. And so we were kind of thinking about what to do and how to kind of give back. Let me look these guys up so I can get this name right. So yeah, it's called we.org now. And so basically the way we looked at it, right, was like we were like, okay, we want to do something, we want to give back. And again, having
when
kids,
you say we, is it just you?
Just me. I always say we because I talk about my team, right, and I talk about everybody, and I don't like.
But you don't have a lot of partners. You handle.
It's
all
just
this,
me.
like,
Yeah, I have one partner in 2 of the offices that I work in, and the rest is me doing it.
You got to number 11. You're like, I think I need a little bit of help.
Yeah.
It's like,
so we looked at this idea, and it was like, how can we inspire these kids and do something, right? So we looked at this program, and so it was actually started by this Canadian guy that he was young. He was like the early teens, and he read this article, and then he went to India and saw the child laborers and stuff, and wanted to start something. So he built this company out of Vancouver. He was probably, I think, 12 or 14, like
building this company out of Vancouver.
Yeah, like
Crazy.
A charitable like thing.
Crazy.
It's huge now. And so he really. So when we heard about it, I thought about it, and we started looking at it. We thought, okay, what we can do is we'll build this program where we'll get every person that starts treatment in our office, we're going to donate a portion of their treatment towards this cause. And so after we get enough people that sign up and we get enough money, we can give that to the company, and they'll build a school in a different country. So we've built, I think, over 5-6 schools now in different countries all over the world. And so it's a way we've noticed that it kind of connects those kids and makes them think about the greater world and what's all around them and how much more they can help. And like, I mean, we complain about a lot of stuff here, and like we have all these first world problems, and it's like, my Wi-Fi doesn't work in my room, and like all these things, right? But it's like at the end of the day,
the Wi-Fi goes away for a minute. What do you mean it doesn't work in your room? Just a glitch in the system is to set you off shooting up schools.
It's crazy. And so I think there's so much to be grateful for, and there's so much for us to be thankful for. And being able to kind of get kids to think about that, or people to connect to that and kind of think about those things, I think is really important for us, right? So
what have you raised? Because this must have cost a lot of money.
Oh man, like probably like at least like 100,000 or something like that, more than that even.
Yeah.
Like because we do it consistently, we're always kind of upping it. And
is this an annual thing? Like how long did it take you to?
Yeah, every year or so we're doing one, right?
Okay.
So we're trying to keep the numbers going up and keep the schools going every time we get one to kind of keep it going.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's a lot to on top of all your businesses.
Yeah.
You guys are doing these things where you're giving back and charities and all sorts of stuff. That's you definitely should stay single for a long time. I can't.
I mean, it's funny. Like, I mean, even talking to my even my mom's like, and people around me, like whoever is gonna end up like the person I could kind of
be
find,
a long distance person.
they'd have to understand like how busy this life is and how much
they have to be just as busy.
Yeah, and they need to be.
That's all they
like,
need. They can't be waiting for you.
Yeah,
it's just, are you busy? I'm busy. All right. Well,
this kind of works, right?
Yeah, exactly. You need to find a busy person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not in the same field, not in the anything to do with that. It could be just somebody that's as devoted to their career as you are.
Yeah.
So they understand that, hey, if I only get to see him for a few hours every 2 days, then that's our time together.
For sure.
Back to the concentrated,
Yeah.
setting of the time, because it works with kids, it works with relationships, it works with your car,
Yeah.
everything in moderation.
Yeah.
If you were to start sleeping in the Lambo, I bet you'd get sick of that car
Yeah.
so quick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The fact that it's in moderation is what you're looking for.
Yeah.
So that's great that you give back the way you do, and it's not just all show no go. You go when you have to, and you're obviously been busy. When do you intend on slowing down? What's the retirement number? Are you looking at 50 or looking at? Do you even want to retire? Is it something
that's the thing. I mean, for me, it was like, as long as I'm having fun doing what I'm doing, I'm going to keep doing it. I said if it ever became like a chore and it was work, then I'd be like, okay, I got to stop and do something else. So for me, right now, it's not really about an end number or end goal or anything like that. It's sort of just to see what we can do and like how far we can take it. I think we're kind of getting into uncharted territory with what we're doing in dentistry and like how we're trying to grow what we're trying to grow. So I don't know. It's hard for me to answer that question because I'm enjoying it and I love it. And so it still makes me excited and gets me excited to get up and get to work and do things. So until that stops, I mean, I probably just keep going and see how far I could do it. I mean, the nice thing about the way things happen is like as you get bigger and like you really build in systems and it makes things kind of run. You kind of get things more passively running and you can kind of manage things from a distance. So your style of work changes. So but in the beginning of my career, was probably way more like in the clinic, treating patients, working on that. Now it's transitioning more to the management side and running things and kind of overseeing things and training and that kind of stuff. So it's just an evolving thing that just kind of keeps going. And I mean, we'll see what happens, right? I mean, do I ever think I could be like 100% retired? I don't know. I don't think, no, if that's, it's just the personality, right? And I think you always want to be doing something. You just want to kind of go, maybe not working full time, I guess, but I mean, we'll see, right?
Speaking of things that have changed, how far have you seen braces come? Like we were talking about braces. The reason I was asking when it started, because I know at the very beginning, braces were probably something you don't want in your mouth. You know what I mean? People were afraid to kiss somebody with braces.
Is there any like scientific advances like happened?
Oh, there is. We just want to. I just want to know more about them.
For sure. I think. I mean, thinking back, even like 20, 30 years to now, like there was like when we were in high school, right? Like kids with headgear and like it's crazy braces.
They had one of these on.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Like,
it was just brown.
It's a real hard sell now. That is
exactly.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
So
we're going way back.
Yeah.
Like,
so there's definitely technology advantage. I mean, the biggest thing I think is this whole Invisalign braces thing, right?
Yeah,
where
they're
now
invisible
they can use
now.
the clear aligners to
so
straighten
how
your
does
teeth.
that stuff work?
It's basically a series of trays. And each tray is a little bit straighter than the last one.
Oh, okay.
So progressively, you get like a set of 20 or 30 of them. Yeah, really
tray.
thin. It's almost like a night guard or retainer.
It just looks like your teeth just got shinier.
Yeah, and then you just wear it and strategically kind of slowly kind of gets you there, right?
At night.
I think, you full time. You're wearing it all the time.
Full time.
Yeah. And you take it out when you eat or drink anything.
Okay.
So
is it easy to take out?
Yeah,
Some
you
of them
get
to
better
pop
at
out,
it. It's the first kind of like probably month is a little bit rough getting used to it.
Yeah,
but
I
then
did it
you're
after
doing
an accident and take it out every night, or you know what I mean. Just I went to the dentist recently and saw one of the girls, and I was being helped out, and she goes, "What do you use to brush your teeth?" I said, "I got like power tools. I got like the one that vibrates. I got a cheap one." She goes, "You're pushing way too hard."
Oh yeah.
And she's telling me that my gums are a little bit.
Oh, they're going up, hey?
They're going up.
Yeah.
And I always thought it was a good thing to like really brush your teeth. Like I brush it like I'm an alligator.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not knowing the damage I'm doing.
Yeah.
So she says, slow that down.
For sure.
Don't be pushing so hard. You need to just kind of just a light scrub. Then I realized that's really all you need.
Yeah.
It's the flossing that you're going hard on.
Yeah.
But the actual brushing. Are you just supposed to go lighter? Has she lost her mind with this advice?
And you know what? Honestly, dentists, hygienists, dental assistants, anyone in the dental field have the same problem because we all brush way too much and way too hard. Yeah. So it's like you definitely want to be.
You brush your teeth.
Well, I'm like 2 times a day kind of thing.
2 times a day?
Yeah,
okay.
I should probably floss more. I should.
I'd say you're a dentist.
But yeah, you want to be kind of gentle with it. You don't want to go too hard because you can really push the gums and get them to recede and stuff.
Yeah.
So you don't want to be doing that.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's correct. And probably use a softer toothbrush. And like there's sometimes even the really powerful, like the advancements have pressure indicators on like how hard you're pressing.
A little vibration's fine, but just
not
let me pushing the gums back.
Slam it right in there.
Do you? How about was this at your shop? What's your clinic called?
It's called Pure Orthodontics. Is the
Pure Orthodontics, and this is all the locations are called that?
No, so there's is there
8 of them that are Pure Orthodontics?
How many we got now? So we got 6 orthodontic offices, and we're opening a 7th one in Calgary. So there's basically 3 in Edmonton, 1 Sherwood Park, 1 Leduc, one in Red Deer right now.
Oh, and now you get to drive.
Yeah, it's a good time. And then we have
now the Lambo's explained.
See, now
I want to get there in an hour. I don't want to drive 3 hours like everybody else.
And then there's 5 dental offices. So like there's 2 in Leduc, 1 in Sherwood, 2 in the West End, and they're all just named neighborhood names, kind of for the areas. So
from now on, I'm going to walk in there and just ask them for the Beehive discount.
yeah, okay.
You're like, bring the video along.
Use the
with
code.
Me so they, yeah, exactly. This is the code.
Beehive 10.
Yeah, that's awesome. All this success and everything that you have going on, especially still being close to your brother and your mom and your kids. I hope all of that just continues to grow for you. Yeah. And I'd be looking forward to just touching base with you later on and having another talk, or doing what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, that'd be interesting for sure.
Because the guys want a little bit of or you know what? Scratch all that. If we did a good enough job where you wanted to use a minute or 2 of it as a promotional video, I don't know how much you spend on advertising, but if you ever want to use something like that, I could like spin it and take like a business side to it, like do it so good where it's like, hey man, we should use a couple of these.
Yeah, that'd be great. No,
I
sure.
wanted to ask.
What do you think, Chris? Sorry, this is
no,
a lot of Chris's work.
No,
I'm talking like it's me doing it. It's really
yeah,
this
no,
guy.
I agree. I agree with you.
Okay.
I wanted to ask, what made you want to be a dentist?
Good question.
The best question
and
is from Chris.
And also, like, how is that grind going to university and changing cities and countries?
Yeah.
How did that affect you? And what made you, like, what was your why that kept you?
Yeah.
Was it like your family, yourself, or?
It was so. Great question. so
Chris, do you want to switch spots real quick?
yeah. So for me, it's really interesting. So I got to back up a little bit and give you the background to kind of lead to it. So growing up in Saskatoon and being like a Pakistani Muslim and like in the community, it was like you had to be like doctor, engineer. That's it. Like there's no option. Like either.
And there wasn't a lot of you guys in that community.
No, it's a small community, right? And so my dad's brother lived in Prince Albert. He had 4 kids, and all 4 of them became doctors. My older brother, he became a physician too.
Those family functions must be awesome. It's like, what are you going to be? It's like, a podcaster.
Yeah.
It's like, you're going to dental school.
Yeah. So it was like the whole time you're just born and bred, like you got to be a doctor, you got to be a doctor, you got to be a doctor.
Yeah.
And so you're doing the things, going through the motions, doing all that stuff. And I remember for me it was really interesting, and I didn't really realize it till after it was over, but it was like after 2 years of university, I applied like everybody else, didn't get in. And then, in 3rd year, applied again, didn't get into medicine again. 4th year again, applied, didn't get in. And then, went to the master's.
So there's a lot of rejections.
Oh man, tons.
And it was like there's so many people that are applying for it.
It's super competitive for sure. Yeah. And it was like, for me looking back now, I think of it as a blessing because of what happened. And it kind of, all that stuff.
Isn't it always a blessing at the end of the day?
And you don't realize it at the time, but it's like being able to go through like that rejection and getting defeated that strong and then being able to come back from that is one of the hardest things for anyone to do. And I think that's where a lot of people taper off, is like they'll get to a point, they'll get defeated, and then just stop, and that's it, and they just give up. So I've always was just determined to do it, and like just kept going, and I never stopped believing. And I think that's one of the things, like, is that for some weird reason for me, I really believe in the power of your mind and the power of belief and the power of like what you think of you can achieve. And so I just kept believing.
What you put forward out there and what you create
back,
in your mind. Yeah.
And so
you attract what you think.
Yeah, about. The secret, that whole thing, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's great. You ever tried the parking spot?
Yeah, I totally do that.
It always
totally
works,
right?
Yeah. You need a little bit of a bigger spot with the Lambo, but you know what I mean. A bike spot, and I say it works. I'm like, the secret.
I visualized the Lambo. Kid you not.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Guaranteed you sat back in your Toyota or whatever.
Right? And it was like, so, and then eventually I got to like, this point, and I was like, I started thinking about my life, and like I was like thinking about getting married, and then or getting married, and I was like, I need to kind of think about what I really want, and I started thinking about myself and not thinking about other people at this point, right? Because again, it was like family pressures, this and that, and like medicine. So I started looking at stuff, and I was like, I always knew I liked health sciences, and I was always a fan of that. And then one of my I basically looked into dentistry, right? And it was like basically it was one of those things where it's like it gives you a good lifestyle for your like family life, and you can have the business side of things, and you can kind of like, you're not on call, and you still make a good wage, and it's like you're still in health sciences. So I was like, this isn't a bad idea. I'm gonna look into it. So I started researching it more, and I talked to some friends who had already become dentists. They started telling me more and more about the stuff. They started explaining to me about the different specialties and things like that. And so that kind of opened my eyes to the whole like plan. I was like, hey, you know what? This isn't a bad idea. So then I applied to it and got in like right away. Got into 3 schools. Got to pick what school I wanted to, and then basically, once I was going through school, I started looking at different specialties, got really interested in ortho, and then kind of went to the ortho thing and went that route. And
so it's a gradual incline to.
And it was nice in the sense that like I kind of kept picking and choosing what I wanted to, and I was doing it for myself at that point and seeing what I wanted to do to achieve. And I knew I wanted to do more and like push myself to get there, to get to that final point. And it was
so your why was wanting to have your own family and get married and move on and
just be like
really be secure.
As cheesy as it sounds, is like just to be a man and like take care of your family and take care of everyone, right?
Yeah.
To grow up. And it was like I needed to like do that for myself to kind of get me there. And so it was like one of those things that it just kind of evolved as I went. But I mean, the biggest thing now that I'm so thankful for was that I failed so many times in the beginning and that nothing worked and it was losing. And it was like you're just like basically kind of like at zero every time and you have to start and do it all over again and then getting destroyed again.
Same thing the other way. When you're giving off happiness, you're giving off all that energy. If a girlfriend or a wife or a kid calls you or your mom and asks how your day is and you explain how your day was, great.
Yeah.
And then your best friend calls and you explain how your day was again. Yeah. Then I call. By the time I call, it's like, listen, man, it was a good day. You're like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So you only have so much energy, whether it's good or whether it's bad.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Energy is such a vital commodity to have, more than your material things. More. You know what I mean? Even more than spirituality. It's your energy that you're putting forward to something. Yeah. And when people drain that out of you, it's like,
oh yeah. And I think that's the thing now, like,
but it doesn't seem like you would let that.
And it's going back to the like my divorce situation and stuff. Yeah. It's like you really see going through that process, like the people important. And what's important, right? And then it's been a blessing now. Honestly, I have like a lot of people around me now. They're just really positive and really supportive, right? Like I have a new girlfriend. She's been really positive and supportive. I have a lot of friends now that I've met that they've all been positive and really supportive. Yeah. And I think that's the thing that's really you notice and really see a lot more. And then you see sort of people in the past that you were around, how negative they are and all the drain and all the energy it took out of you to do that, right? And I think it's just not healthy at some point.
But you need to go through that to figure the other side out, right?
100%.
Could you have known what you know now had you not gone through some of these things?
Never.
Right?
Yeah. It's some of those things.
Or you might be learning it, but in a few more years. Right? It's like,
there's this analogy we always use of like, you live in this bubble, right? And it's like you live in this world and you only know what's in that world. And eventually you'll evolve and grow outside of that world. And then you can look back into the world and see,
and you see it for what it is.
Yeah, and you see how you were and how people were.
This tiny part of you.
Yeah, and then you just keep going, right? Yeah. And it's infinite. So, I mean, even now at the stage I'm at, I'm sure like another year, 2 years, 3 years, I'm going to look back and be like, wow, I was doing this.
You'll be learning in your 60s, 70s. Your dad was still learning. God rest his soul. Your dad was still learning even days before he passed on. Yeah. You're always learning. That's the idea. That's the purpose. That's everybody's why. Yeah. Besides the other whys that we have. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That should be. Amar signing off with Amer Hussain. Try saying that 10 times. I appreciate you coming down, man. I do wanna see you at the clinic or just at an outing, or if you want to grab a coffee.
Absolutely.
And I want to talk more about what some of the projects that these guys have and might be working on, because I think you might like it.
Yeah.
And it might only take a few hours of your day, even though those are vital hours. I promise you, it'll be something that you'll appreciate at the end. So we'll plan it for another time, but thanks for coming, man.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Can we take the Lambo around the block in the Crescent?
Do you have winter tires on that?
I do. There's
you can get winter tires for it?
Like in all the Aventadors in like the world, this is gonna be one of the only ones with winter tires.
How many are there in the city?
Oh, I'd probably say like 10, 15 maybe.
Yeah.
In there somewhere. Yeah, ballpark.
Well, if you see a black one leaving the north side today, Wednesday, or no, this will be, well, you know what, we'll release on a Wednesday. So if you see it leaving the block today on a Wednesday, that's Amer going home. All right, buddy. Thank you.
Man. Thanks so much.
Good to see you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.